Okay, we're going to have a look at how to plot a histogram. Now, a histogram is not a normal bar chart. A histogram doesn't have frequency at the side, it has frequency density. So that's the first thing we need to be thinking about. Now, the frequency density is the frequency divided by what we call the class width. Okay, now what we have is we have a group frequency table and we have to add an extra column onto our table to account for the frequency density. Now, we have to, for each row of this table, we have to calculate the frequency density that applies to each row. So, this is about the test scores from the students in the school are summarised in a table. So we have the test scores here that are grouped and the number of students that scored those values. Now the frequency density I've just been talking about is the frequency. So in this case for the first row is 15. And divided by the class width. Now the class width is the difference between these two values in each row. So in this case 30 minus 0. So that it becomes 15 divided by 30, which is 0.5. Moving on to the next row, we have to do the frequency, which is 22. And we divide that by the difference between these two values, the class width. So 40 minus 30, which is 22, divided by 10, which is 2.2. Moving on to row 3. So we have the frequency 28 divided by the difference, the class width, 50 minus 40, so that is 28 divided by 10, which is 2.8. And then we have the next row, 30 is the frequency, the class width is 70 minus 50, which is 30 over 20, 1.5. And the last one, frequency is 9 divided by the difference, the class width, so it's 9 over 30, which is equal to 0.3. Now, as you can see, these are very low values. We aren't just trying to plot the frequency as a bar, because obviously you can see it's not going to fit, and that's where some people just give up on the question. They don't understand what to do. You have to calculate the frequency density. Now, it is a type of bar chart, but the difference is that the bars are not equal width, and there are no gaps between the bars. Okay, so we're going to have a look at how to plot it. Now, the first row is between 0 and 30. So my bar is going to be between 0 and 30. And I have to plot frequency density for that first one. So 0.5. So it's going to go up to 0.5. So I'm going to draw in my first bar. Okay. Then we move on to the second row. That's between 30 and 40. So between 30 and 40, notice my bars are at different widths. There's no gaps between the bars. Between 30 and 40, I have to have my graph at 2.2, which is here. So draw this in. Okay. Row number 3, between 40 and 50, 40 and 50. It's 2.8. 2.8 is here. Okay. Next one, between 50 and 70. 50 and 70 is there, and the frequency density is 1.5. 1.5. to the last one, between 70 and 100 is 0.3. 70 and 100, 0.3 is there. So just finish off the bar chart. So you should notice no gaps, the bars aren't equal, and as you can see, we're not plotting the frequency, we're plotting the frequency density. That's the difference.